Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Talking Time with Charlie, but this one is a little different. It's Story Time with Charlie. Story Time with Charlie. I thought this might be kind of a nice spin-off series where I talk about some stories that I have accumulated on the road. Why is my hair? Oh my goodness, whatever. I've accumulated on the road. There's been a lot. A lot of times people say, Charlie, do you have any good on-the-road stories, touring stories? I have a ton of them. A ton. Like, a lot. I could write books and books. I don't want to kind of make anyone mad or anything, so I got to kind of be careful of what I say. I don't want to... But there's a few stories that I think I can share. So, before we start, you know what to do. We're going to do a pyramid scheme, but a good kind of pyramid scheme. So this is what we're going to do. Everyone who's watching this movie, I'm talking to you, Joe, who's in your kitchen with your laptop on the counter. I'm talking to you, Bob, who's sitting on the toilet using your phone, watching it on there. I know everyone does it. No one doesn't do that, right? My hair really is kind of screwed up today. Whatever. I need a haircut. All of you, everyone who's seeing this, share it with 2 or 3 people. And then they'll share it with 2 or 3 people, and I'll kind of go, and then hopefully help this YouTube stuff. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, do me a favor and go to YouTube and subscribe and hit the bell. Because Facebook, I can't put the link below. So go to the YouTube app and type in my name, or go to youtube.com/Charlie Albright Pianist. And all you have to do is click the subscribe button, click the bell. Clicking the bell makes it so it'll pop up whenever I actually upload a video, so you want that. And then leave a comment and hit the thumbs up button. Because commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell, and hitting the thumbs up button, it's 4 clicks, but it makes a world of difference with the algorithm. So please do that. It helps a ton. So, my story. Today I want to tell you a story about performing at Carnegie Hall. So last year, almost 2 years from now. It was January of 2019. This was pre-COVID. This was it feels like forever ago now. It wasn't really that long ago, but I had the chance to perform with the American Symphony Orchestra at Carnegie Hall. And not on one of the small stages. Carnegie Hall is like the whole thing. There's 3 halls within Carnegie Hall. There's Weil Recital Hall, which is like a few hundred people. There's Zankel Hall, I think it's called, which is like maybe 600 people. Don't quote me on any of these numbers. And then there's the Big Kahuna, the thing that people think of when they hear Carnegie Hall, and that's called like Stern Auditorium or something. And that's the one that's like 2,000 something, 100 odd, whatever people hall. So I had the chance to perform for the first time ever at Carnegie Hall in the big chalupa, the big burrito place, the big not Howard Stern, Howard Stern, not Howard Stern Auditorium, Stern Auditorium, and on the Perlman stage. I think they call it the Perlman stage. There's like the Perlman stage, and then Stern Auditorium. Anyway, the big one. And I was playing with the American Symphony Orchestra, and we were playing a piece by Vivian Fine. Concertante for piano and orchestra. So it's like a kind of newish, modernish, contemporary-ish classical piece of music. It's like a 1-movement concerto. It's pretty short, but it's like the length of a short concerto. It's like 20 minutes or something. So I was thinking, okay, I usually like to do encores, right? This is Carnegie Hall. And lately I had been doing encores of Great Balls of Fire. Now, Great Balls of Fire is, there's tons of videos. After this, go to type in Great Balls of Fire, Charlie Albright, and then watch all of those, and then share all of those with 2 or 3 people. I want your friends to start telling you that, hey, you need to cut it out with the sharing of the Charlie videos. That's how many videos I want you to share. Okay, back to the subject. So, I wanted to play Great Balls of Fire. I had played it a lot up until then. I played it all over the world, literally, and everyone loves it. No one doesn't like Great Balls of Fire, but this is like Carnegie Hall. Like, this is the most, at least in my mind, the most hoity-toity of all of the places. I played it in like rural towns. I've played it in cities before. After big concerts with big orchestras, but this felt different. This was Carnegie Hall, right? This is the place. There's the sayings go after this. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. And then the joke is, how do you get to Carnegie Hall really? Know the manager. And there's probably a little truth to that kind of a statement in the music world, but that might be a topic for another video. Anyway, this was Carnegie Hall, so it was a little bit freaky. I was like, I don't know if this is appropriate. I don't want to piss anyone off. I don't want to, So I was thinking, well, maybe I should I ask the conductor? And the conductor is a very, the American Symphonies, great guy, Maestro Botstein. And I didn't know him well before. I might have met him once before. I think I'd met him once before, a few years ago, briefly. And then I started doing rehearsals with him for this concert. I was in New York maybe a week or so before the concert. And we had rehearsals and stuff. And I didn't know him really well. And he's kind of a formal looking person, right? Like he's very kind of a serious looking person. So he's not like all laughs and giggles kind of a thing, So I was thinking, should I ask him what he thought? But then I remembered back to something that I think it was Mr. Adsit, who is my piano teacher's husband in Olympia, Washington, Nancy Adsit. Before I went to Nancy Adsit is my piano teacher from when I was like 7 or 8 until I went to college. She lives in Michigan now, and they're both like he was like my grandpa and she is like my grandma. And I think a long time ago he was basically teaching me it's easier to ask for forgiveness than get permission. So if I went up to this guy and asked him what he thought and he said, no, it's not appropriate, or I don't think it's a good idea, then it would be really hard for me to actually do it, right? It would be like, I'd be going against something that he had, you know what I mean? It'd be harder to do it then. But if I didn't ask and I just did it, it's not like they're gonna like run up on the stage when I'm playing it and and drag me off, right? I mean, maybe, but or get one of those giant hooks like from the side of the stage and pull me off the stage or something. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's best not to ask permission, and then if something happens, I can always apologize afterward. It might be my only time ever on Carnegie Hall, and it might really be my only time ever if I shouldn't have played the Great Balls of Fire, and I did. But so I started kind of feeling around, kind of putting my feelers out there in terms of I'd ask like this. I think it was the day of now. No, it was during one of the rehearsals. I think I was like asking around if maybe it was either the day of or one of the rehearsals. I can't remember. But I was asking around to people who worked in the orchestra, like at least one person. Do people usually do encores when they play with you? Because when I give concerts with orchestras, other orchestras, not Carnegie Hall, I almost always give an encore or two, usually one encore after an orchestra thing. And she said no, or was it he? I can't remember who I asked. The person said no. I remember clearly that being the case. No, people don't usually give encores, which I thought was weird because most of the time when I've seen concerts, people give an encore after the concerto, even if it's with an orchestra accompanying them. But anyways, that was kind of like a red flag for me. I was like, oh, well, not only might Great Balls of Fire be inappropriate at the most prestigious concert hall in the entire planet, but people don't give any encore, let alone an inappropriate one, right? Excuse me. So, it kind of made me worried. So, day of the concert. I am upstairs, I think it's upstairs, yeah. The dressing room that I was in was upstairs from the ground floor of the stage. So, there's an elevator ride you have to take. So, I was upstairs, and there was this fellow there who didn't work for the orchestra. It's a guy who worked for Carnegie Hall, like the organization, Carnegie Hall. And he was kind of like my keeper, my handler. And he was, sitting outside my dressing room in case I needed something. And his job was also to help me get to the orchestra, to the stage when my time was. And one way I kind of like calm down is by talking. And then, I've kind of discussed this maybe in other things where, I like talking to audiences and it helps relax me. It makes it less formal and more just like a evening or afternoon of sharing an experience, sharing music and stuff, having fun. So I was walking, or I was in my dressing room a little bit, and I'd walk out into the hall and we'd talk about whatever. And he's a really nice guy, really nice guy. And I talked to him and I was like, you know what? I have this idea and I don't know if I should do it or not. And he says something like, what is it? And I said, I think I'm playing with the idea of playing Great Balls of Fire as an encore after this piece. And he looks at me and he goes, do it. And I said, well, I'm scared because this is Carnegie Hall. I don't know if it's appropriate and, all this kind of this, that, and the other. And he says, do it. He goes, I haven't been working here very long, but I think you should do it. Or something along those lines, which I don't know if made me feel any better, but he kind of gave me the encouragement that I should just go for it. Why not? And, a lot of you know that oftentimes I'll say that. Why not? Because why not? Let's do this because why not? And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. You know what? Why not? So it comes time that I need to go down next to the stage and get ready to walk out. So he's taking me and we're in the elevator and he goes, by the way, I've been working here for like 30 or 40 years and like 40 years or something, like a long time. Like he's been working there and he's seen every most famous musician like ever at Carnegie Hall. Like he's seen the most famous violinist, pianist, everything. It turned out that this guy was kind of bluffing or under-exaggerating how long he had been there. So he'd seen everyone and everything, which was amazing. Anyway, I get out on the stage, perform the piece. It went really well. A sold-out crowd. There was like 20-some hundred people out there. It was just full, completely full audience at Carnegie Hall. Great. I mean, it was great. The concert went well. And then it's time for the encore. So I sat down and I announced it. I told, you had to shout very loudly to be heard. And I played Great Balls of Fire. And I'll tell you what, you've probably never seen so many screaming at the top of their lungs, 80-something-year-old white-haired grandmas and grandpas in that audience as that night in Carnegie Hall. It was epic. It was amazing. Supposedly the most, sophisticated audience in the world and the most famous, prestigious concert hall in the world, and it just broke loose afterwards playing Great Balls of Fire. Everyone loved it. I had a ball, and it ended up being great. And so I'm super glad that I did it. But I tell you, it was nerve-wracking. Like, I was scared. I was backstage right before going onto the stage, and I was still thinking, I was scared about this piece because it was a new piece to me. It was a New York debut of the piece, the Vivian Fine. But I was scared. Is this appropriate or not? But I did it, and it ended up being a blast, and people just went wild. So I'm really glad that I did it. But it was scary. And so that was one story from my travels and experiences. So I hope this was kind of fun. If you want more like this, comment. What other kinds of things do you want to see on this channel and whatever? And if you haven't already, share it with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 500 of your closest friends, because that is the only way to make this go like that. So we need as many people to click the subscribe button and the bell and comment, because that helps the algorithm and helps this video and others from going flat. So thank you for doing that. That really makes a huge difference for me and makes it easier for me to, and encourages me to keep making more of these, right? Like, if people are watching, great, I want to do more. If people aren't, it's like, it's a lot of work, but then actually these videos are a little less work than like recording piano pieces. One of the reasons why I want to do these kinds of talking type videos is because a few reasons. One is that I like talking. 2, people I think, oftentimes want to hear kind of the other side. I don't get to talk a whole lot. I talk a little in my concerts, but not, you don't sit up there and talk mostly. You're amazing playing the piano. And also when you're playing music, it's hard to come up, learning a piece of music and perfecting it takes a long time. Like years. Like you can literally spend years working on one piece. And so it's not like you can output the highest quality level of music every single day on a new video. Like, it's just not feasible, especially for me who can't sight read worth a darn. Sight read worth a darn, that is. But so I love performing and playing music, and I have got some Christmas songs coming up soon and stuff, which are a little easier because you can just kind of improvise. But in terms of like classical music, you can't really put up a whole lot of new ones of those very often, just because it takes, even if you knew the piece, it takes a long time to practice it to bring it up, and then it's like a 5-minute piece or longer. But anyway, so thanks again for all your support. Let me know if you want more story times like this and what you want it to be on. Also, talking time questions, put it down in the comments. I see the comments. Requests, I don't always get to do a lot of requests, but right now I'm taking some for Christmas music. In terms of like classical music stuff, again, that's really hard, because if it's a piece that you'll never learn all the piano pieces in the world, because there's just like more piano music than pretty much any other music out there. And so you could literally spend your life learning new pieces of piano music and you'll never even come close to scratching the surface of it. So if I don't know the piece of music, then I probably am not gonna like specifically learn it just for a quick YouTube video. At least not right now. If I have a bajillion subscribers, then maybe I'll think about it. But anyway, we'll leave that there for now. Thank you so much. Share this, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I want your friends to tell you to slow down on it, and then I want you to say, no, it's for the algorithm. So, take care. Bye-bye.